Biohacking is the optimization of your health in order to be more productive, feel better, and get more shit done. Biohacking is the optimization of your health in order to be more productive, to have more energy, have more focus, and to perform at your peak. In this video, I'm going to tell you what biohacking is, what it is not, how it impacted my life, how it completely changed my life, and if you stay until the end of the video, I'm going to tell you how it can completely change your life as well. So, welcome back to the channel. My name is Stefan. I'm the owner of the Spectrum Performance Program, and what we do is that we help top entrepreneurs and traders optimize their health and performance so they can start earning more money. But let's get into the video. So, before I tell you about how biohacking tripled my energy, my focus, and my productivity, let me first explain what biohacking is to you. It's sort of become a hype term, and I think a lot of people know the term, but they don't know exactly what it is. So let me explain. So biohacking is actually giving your body the things it needs to operate as it should. Like, the essential is not about using all kinds of technologies. It's about optimizing your health in order to feel better. So what biohacking is that it's looking at nature. How can we mimic nature? How can we do things so we feel better, so we have more energy, and just in general perform better? It's also about quantifying health and finding out what works for you as a person. So biohacking is a lot about N is 1. So things that work for you might not work for me, and vice versa. So it's really about finding out what things work for you and make you perform and feel better. So examples of biohacks are optimizing your sleep, grounding, which is something we'll get into later. It's an example of finding out supplements and nootropics that work for you so you can be more focused, and finding out, for example, what kind of foods are good for you and what kind of foods are not good for you. So one person might do very well on a carnivore diet, the other person might do very well on a vegan diet. And with biohacking, that's something you find out in order to perform better. So how did biohacking triple my focus, energy, and productivity? If I look at most biohackers, then the reason they start biohacking comes from a need that they have themselves. So if I look back at my past, I think like 4 or 5 years ago, I couldn't wake up without drinking a few cups of coffee. I needed to have a lot of caffeinated beverages just to have some energy throughout the day. I was having constant digestion issues. Like, if I ate something, I didn't really have the energy afterwards to do something. And all in all, like, my energy, my focus was at a very low point. So that's when I started biohacking without even knowing that I was biohacking. I started focusing on my nutrition. So I had this idea that dairy was causing me to have inflammation, was causing me to have lower energy. So I eliminated that from my diet. That's when I already saw some results. I started having more energy, but still I was not at my full capacity. I felt that. So I went deeper into it. That's when I came to the state that I'm now in. So just to go back a bit, when I woke up in the morning at that time, like, the only thing I wanted to do was binge watch Netflix, to game, and do stuff like that. And I just didn't have the energy to do anything. And I had dreams of becoming an entrepreneur, and I really thought that I didn't have it in me to become that entrepreneur. But if I look back at it, like, my health and performance was not optimized to do that stuff. If you start out your business, your health doesn't need to be completely optimized with biohacking. But if you don't have the basics right, it will be very difficult to work productively for hours on end and to have the energy to do certain kind of things. So what you need to do is to start optimizing the health and performance. So that's what I did at the start, and then you'll see some crazy results. So you really need to focus on the basics before you can progress. So for example, you can do a blood test to determine the state of your body, but if you're not sleeping well, if you're not eating well, it all doesn't matter, because those are the basics and you need to focus on that before you can progress further with biohacking. And did you know that 15 to 30% of your energy throughout the day goes through the digestion of food? So if your food intake is not optimal, so for example, you're eating a lot of sugar, you're eating a lot of dairy that's causing you inflammation, then you can never perform at your peak. You will always perform at like 70–80% because a lot of that energy is going towards digesting food. Then I did a biohack that completely changed my life. It's a gut microbiome test, and it had to do with your digestion. So I already felt that I wasn't digesting my food in an optimal way. So I started researching things, how can I improve it? And I came at a gut microbiome test. And what this test does is that it analyzes your gut, and then it can give you advice onto which foods are really bad for you and which foods are good for you. So at that time I was doing a lot of working out and I wanted to eat a lot of calories to gain weight. So I was eating a lot of cashews and almonds. And out of the test came that I was allergic or that I couldn't handle cashews and almonds very well. So after I eliminated that from my diet, I started having almost zero digestion issues. My energy went up. And that's an example of how biohacking can triple your energy, your focus, and your productivity. Because you do, for example, a certain kind of test, so that's a biohack, and you implement some things from that into your life, you can fix your energy and you can fix your focus. So by changing my nutrition, I started eliminating the digestion issues, I started having a lot more energy, but if I look back at it, my sleep was still all over the place. I was still a student at the time, so one time I went to bed at 2 AM, then I went to bed at 4 AM, then I went to bed at 10 PM. It was just all over the place. And let me tell you, if you don't fix your sleep, it really doesn't matter for your energy and for your focus, because it's the most important thing. So after fixing my nutrition, I started fixing my sleep. If you're at the start of your journey, start fixing your sleep first, because that's the most important thing. After you fix your sleep, then it's important to fix your nutrition. So why is sleep so important? There's a study done that shows if people only, I think, sleep 6 or 7 hours a night, then that's what most people do, then after 1 week, your brain will function the same as if it hasn't slept for 24 hours straight. So just imagine if you always sleep for 6 to 7 hours, then that means that your brain is like operating at the same capacity as it is when you're awake for 24 hours. And I don't know if you've ever been awake for 24 hours, but I mean, your performance, your cognitive performance, like it isn't really there. So that's why sleep is so important if you want to start having more energy, start having more focus, start having more productivity. Then to fix my sleep and to start biohacking my sleep, I bought an Oura ring. In another video, I'll talk about like the Oura ring, what it does and what my review of it is. But it's basically this ring that you put on your finger and it tracks the quality of your sleep and the quality of your like readiness. So how ready you are at that day. So it looks at, for example, your resting heart rate, your heart rate variability. It looks at all kinds of things to know how well rested you are. And I noticed that on the days where I had a low sleep score and a low readiness score, my productivity and my focus was also low. So then I started fixing the last avenue of my performance, and that was sleep. And like I said before, if you're starting out in your journey, start with sleep. It's going to give you the most bang for your buck and then go on to the next thing. So what I started doing is that I started having a wind down routine. I started taking supplements that supported the quality of my sleep. And after that, my sleep started skyrocketing. So I started having sleep scores of 80 plus on Oura, and I started feeling way better. And just those tiny two things, so fixing my nutrition, fixing my sleep, already tripled my energy, my focus, productivity. I didn't wake up tired anymore. During the day, I didn't need 5 cups of coffee just to be focused, just to have energy. And that completely changed the game for me. So how did biohacking exactly triple my focus, my energy and productivity? The first thing was sleep. So sleep was the complete game changer. It tripled my energy. I didn't wake up tired anymore. Then I fixed my digestion, my nutrition, and that made sure that I didn't have any dips in energy, that I could stay focused throughout the day. I fixed my exercise, so I exercised with things that were really good for me, and that made sure that I could stay focused. And lastly, I used several productivity and biohacking techniques to do twice amount of work in half the time. And that sounds very crazy, but if you focus on the right things, if you work very efficiently, it's easily done. So that was more about me, but how can you start biohacking yourself? Well, first, what you have to do is look at your performance. So at what level is it right now? So for example, say to yourself, if you look at a scale from 1 to 10, what is your performance right now? Maybe it's a 5, maybe it's a 6. And then ask yourself, what's the reason for that? So for example, are you tired all the time? Do you not have any focus? Isn't there any structure into your day? And focus on the lowest hanging fruit. So what's the biggest problem you have? Focus on that, because if you solve that problem, then you go get on to the next one. And for most people, it's going to be fixing your sleep. So the $1,000,000 question is, of course, how can you start biohacking yourself? If I look back at it, I started with biohacking my digestion, with my nutrition. But if I would have done it over again, I would have started focusing on my sleep, because sleep is the most important thing. You can eat the right things and they will give you more energy, but if you lack quality sleep, so for example, you only sleep 6 hours a night, it's not going to give you the most bang for your buck. And you should always focus on the lowest hanging fruit, the things that's going to give you the highest return on your investment. That being said, for example, buy an Oura ring. You can start tracking the quality of your sleep, start scoring your sleep if you don't have the funds to invest in an Oura ring. So for example, when you wake up, rate your sleep from 1 till 10 and then write down what factors were causing that. So for example, you took a certain supplement, you had a few drinks last night, then you can start seeing correlations, and then you can find out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Because biohacking is all about finding out what works for you, what works for your body. Because also with the people that I work with, it's like they're general principles that we follow, but still everyone is different. Everyone has a different routine, something else that they do, a certain supplement that they take in order to get quality sleep. If you're finished with that, or you're already optimized your sleep, then start focusing on the biggest problem you have. So for example, if it's productivity and focus, then start looking at supplements and nootropics that support your focus. So there's another video I made about the 7 best nootropics that you can watch. And then we'll talk about like which nootropics to take if you want to be more productive, if you want to be more focused. If it's for example your nutrition, start eliminating things from your diet that you think is causing you indigestion, that will cause you to have lower energy levels. So if you want to start biohacking, start simple and know that always N is 1. So what that means is find out things that work for you and that work for your body. If you want to start biohacking, then start by focusing on your sleep, start by focusing on that. And you can see some videos on my channel about that. For now, I want to know from you, so let me know in the comments, did you already know what biohacking is and what kind of biohacks are you already doing? So, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.